Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. I only have to be sharp with my 50 minutes. I'm an industrial engineer, have no space background, working 11 years with the space agency, had my own startup company. I was part of the first wave, 350 people, merged that with a stock company. I worked for Apple until 2000, and I love what I do, and ever when I'm frustrated, I look to movies like this, because from our colleagues and astronauts, cosmonauts or tigonauts, and when you see the movie and the view of our astronauts, I say, wow, it's the right place. It's a big, big organization ship, and we have 20 governments. You have only one, so you're lucky. So, but Canada is an associated member of the European Space Agency. They work closely with us. They love to work with us rather than with our American NASA colleagues, so we have to be better. All right, we speak about space. So I do everything besides space. I'm the alien in ESA per se, and we had a pretty good week, or a pretty good 2 weeks the last weeks. First, we landed a probe on a comet, and you have to think, this mission was designed 20 years ago. Then we had bad luck, and the Ariane 5 was exploding, so we had to find a new comet. Which is also not tricky. We had 12 months time to find a new comet, to reprogram the mission, and to send a spaceship on the trip of 6,500 million kilometers, landing in on something which we had no clue how it looks like, and recontrol it and remote control it on a distance of 4 astronomical units. That is the distance between Earth and Sun by 4 times. This is genius engineering. It works, and failure is not an option. Alexander Gerst, our astronaut, German region, was also coming back. He spent it on the International Space Station, and it's not Star Trek. The space station has more charm of a Soviet submarine in the Second World War. But he loves also his job. It's great, and these are the ambassadors. So what we do, there is no space technology, but there are a lot of crazy things what we have to do. And when you're looking to have a 2 football field big space station running around Earth 90 minutes. So it's the speed. Every 90 minutes, they have a sunset, sundown. It's really stress to the material. And this is what we're good in ESA. We are great in managing very complex projects, technology, which have to survive in a harsh environment. And if you're looking to startups, they have the same problem. They're also suffering a harsh environment. So this is the reason why we're looking also to entrepreneurship, and I'll come into a second. I brought you some nice pictures. Rockets, of course, you don't see 2, is Soyuz and Ariane. Ariane rocket burns 17 tons of fuel a second. Yeah, it's not really green energy, but what you have to see, it has to work. 3% of that machine is payload, the rest is rocket. So it's great, great engineering. And I think with our probe landing, we were on the same level of pioneership which we had with Werner von Braun. Okay, we do navigation. This is infrastructure. We build big infrastructure. And if you see a little bit traffic in lower orbit, we made it a little bigger. It's only 5 or 10 satellites. The transmission we have now to Canada, most likely is going one of our telecommunication satellites we have supported. This is current business. Space is today. You don't see it, but it's up there. And if you have geo-orbit, it's a little bit more. And this is really a problem what we have. We have a little bit rubbish in space, because in the 60s, the 2 superpowers never thought about it. Okay, anyhow, this is something we have to think. I worked for Steve, and when we're thinking about innovation, there's a difference between innovation and invention. You know, we learned, I'm this next week advisor of Fraunhofer IIS in Nuremberg. Is the biggest Fraunhofer Institute. They have invented the MP3 algorithm. And when you look into the invention, they made a little bit money out of it. Not big money, a little bit. And to invent something is great, but the innovation is not always with invention. And we take the iPod, the hard drive was existing, MP3 algorithm was existing, MP3 player was existing. Apple purchased it, iTunes. What Apple did was an excellent system integration and a genius marketing. So this is what we always have to look on. If you had the first iMacs, they just added color. That's it. So innovation is more than just technology. It's hard to sell it to my engineers, trust me. Okay, what we do is we're taking material from a glider of Hermes. This was a space glider. We're making the best brakes in the world, 300,000 kilometers, 60% lighter. Now you have it in Formula 1, now you have it already in Audi, you will have it in trucks, and in 20 years every car will have it. We're thinking about that putting to elevators. So we have to think crazy. A lot of technology is already invented, and we have to look around to take it. There's no crazy transfer. We even have the Vatican Library as a customer for a data format we made together with NASA. And I asked this gentleman responsible and so said, Monsignore, why you take not PDF, Adobe, it's a good format. And he said, Mr. Salzgeber, Who can guarantee that Adobe and PDF in 50 to 100 years still exists? We in the Vatican have a different time horizon. So we have to see where's the customer and what is what we want to do. If you go fishing, you have to take care that the worm is tasty for the fish, not for the fisher. And sometimes in government organization, we have the tendency to totally forget that. All right. What we do, we have some patents. Most of the patents of our 4.3 billion budget, what we have goes to industry. We have some great engineers. We keep these small patents. Most of the engineering patents are staying with Airbus, OHB, and MDU Space, and so on. So with this we do crazy technology transfers, interdisciplinary. Yeah? This is not easy. We are good, and we support startup companies. 100 a year next year. This year we had only 90 to 80. 100 startups related to space a year. I think in Europe we were the biggest. When I started, we had 10, and the last 6 years I supported 300, and I'm self-entrepreneur, I know what it needs. And what we do, we give them a package. We give them 50K cash, which helps. And from the day of presentation to get an ESA contract for entrepreneurship is 6 weeks, so we are quick. We give them our love. We don't take shares. We leave that to somebody else. We give them technology advice. We give them our branding. We give them marketing support. We give them housing and sheltering. And we connect them to customers. You know, if they need a meeting with BMW Innovation Management, we know them. Because we work with the industry since 20 years together in technology transfer. So we help to give them the customer 1, 2, 3. And this we don't not only do in Europe, we do it worldwide. If you need a contact to oil and gas in Malaysia, Petronas, or Saudi Aramco, or Gazprom, we know the people. All right, and a little bit venture capital. We speak with the venture capital people, and we work with them, with IBAN, and all of them normally very closely together. But we are the neutral body. And of course, we are successful. Fraunhofer has adapted our policy, Airbus, CERN, and so on. All right, this is what our network is. It's across Europe. This is fine. We have to look to Canada because it's an associated member. We speak with the Canadian Space Agency because this is also, to connecting a startup to a startup, this is a fair deal. If you connect a startup to a big corporate, poof, they're eaten up often. And we don't like that our kids are eaten up. So we are also taking and shielding them and take care that nobody makes ugly deals, because as a multi-government organization, trust me, you have a certain power that helps and people are listening. We have an idea competition called Galileo Master, or European Satellite Navigation Competition. So we had the award ceremony here in T-System and the ministry. We had 1,000 ideas worldwide, what you can do with navigation and Earth observation. And this is really what we get great ideas. We had ideas also from Canada, and they mounted a camera on the space station and just getting information, because the space station is only 400 kilometers orbit. It's fantastic view. What we do at the moment, we speak with SAP. So this is where I need your help. For Canada, I need locations, because SAP want to bring the app camp. We have that in Europe, so we have 7 sites. They're programming on our Earth observation data line, which we just launched, Sentinel data, Copernicus data, and SAP with the HANA platform is supporting it. Apps should come out of it. The best ideas will go to Barcelona, and we want to move this concept to the US and Canada next year. So we really want to have startup companies working on Earth observation data, and I come to a second what that means. So I need your help that we find cool places in Canada where we have people working on interesting data. Some of our startup companies, it was the quickest exit by the Hightech Gründerfonds. It's an online platform for bicycle couriers. The Hightech Gründerfonds exited as investment after 2.5 years. Not bad. One of our startups. Flink, car sharing, we invested 50K, they are now 15 people. This is an investment which has a high return. Leosphere, they're measuring wind. They are now 150 people, 20 million revenue, we invested 80K. And what they do now, they build the LiDAR, it's laser technology, in the nozzle of the windmill and measure the wind, which comes up in 1 minute. If it's a storm, they shut down, which is normal, but sometimes it's only a peak and you want to harvest it. It increases the efficiency of a lifetime by 3%. Not bad. Some engineers from France. Future. I promised you to show a little bit what we see in the future. And in time, you have always driving things. I have 2 kids. I have twins. And I was cleaning up 2 years my home office, and Lucas was coming down and had this old telephone there, and he said, "Dad, what is that?" And I said, "It's a telephone." You know what his answer was? "Where's the display?" True story. And I was not realizing it, and he said, "You don't need a display, you take the finger and dial." Why? It was boring. He went up. So I was continue working and then striked me. Damn, I'm living in the past. As long as the audience laughs, you also live in the past, and I'm a good community. So I'm lucky with this. So looking a little bit to the future. The map has not changed the last 2,600 years from the first Babylonian map to the map we have now, which is not true. If you take Earth observation data, a picture, what we take, has until 350 channels. So if you take the channels of the Earth observation satellites, if you take logistic data, you can really, and then you move in the past. I can tell you already what is the water quality, what is the water temperature, what is the water visibility, if there are algae in there. I can tell you what is the dust, the greenness level, the vegetation level. If you all do that, this will be the power of the future. This is the superimposing of 4 or 5-dimensional data. And I tell you what Facebook is doing is Mickey Mouse against it. There are some companies working already, but we have an issue. What Mr. Nordstrom said, we have the Zeta flood or Iota flood. So we have too many information coming. And the problem is when we're looking, there are 2 effects. The data go up. We have everything goes quicker. We know Morph's law, that the transistor becoming quicker and double the size every 12 months, but there's also Gregg laws, that the data size or the database size double in 8 months. So this is really 8 to 9 months. So this goes on the other aspect. And Mr. Flynn, a professor, said that our kids will become more clever than we are. I'm still not sure with my kids, but it's true. It will be that level. So it will be the problem to manage data. The future will be not an app shop. The future will be a logic shop. How to manage and superimpose data. I'm nearly done. I have some slides where our ideas come from. By the way, Münchner Rück is doing that already. Yeah? They're managing the matrix. They can tell you already back and forward what will happen in 5 to 10 years because they have to measure and calculate their risk. Ideas, where we are. This is normally the standard scene. You're on the university. You know, I'm more a practical person. So when we're looking to ideas, looking to recycling. We're excellent in recycling. I think with glass we are 70%, the cans we are 60%, but if you're looking, there should be one FP7 or Horizon 2020 or whatever. Recycling ideas, sorry, we are lousy. We are very, very bad. It's much easier to get 2 million R&D funding in Europe than getting 100,000 seed investment. So still our governmental organizations prefer to pay the self-impollination loop of R&D. And this is bad, and this is what we have to change. Because what we need as entrepreneurs, this is my other son, with 6 years on the red slope, you see him smiling. Entrepreneurs have no fear and little respect. And this is what we need. It's the pirates of Silicon Valley which changing. Steve and Wozniak was copying stuff. This is what people copy. They want to be better. Steve was 21. Einstein was 26 when he was writing his thesis. Werner von Braun was 25. So you have to teach already to the young kids entrepreneurship is right, and this is changing. People are not keen to go to JP Morgan anymore. They are keen really to have a job in a startup, and this will come. It's the Cambrian explosion, which was 500 million years before. The Cambrian explosion of startup companies, and this will bring people again into labor because the risk to having a startup company or having not a job is nearly the same. So you have to be the garden of the vineyard, and I close with a picture from Mars Express going to Mars, because we only know the Apollo pictures, and Mars Express was turning around. This is Earth, this is Moon, and sometimes you only have to change a little bit your perspective to see the right thing. This is the space you need to get your business off the ground. Thank you very much.
Yes. Please on the microphone so Toronto can hear you.
When will we see a BIC in Canada? There wasn't a dot on the other side of the Atlantic yet.
Yeah, but this is something, you know, we have in Austria we have a saying, you can't carry the hunting dog under your arm into the forest. So they have to come to us, then we help them. We enable, but we can't do the show for them. So they really have to come to us to approach us, and then we enable. But if we would start in regions to create a BICs, there's a difference between incubation and intubation. Yeah, intubation means you have, this is what we often do in governments, you have a patient, not perfect medical condition, you pump air into the body and you're not sure if the patient survives. So therefore, they have to come to us and then we add our part. Then it works. It stays and falls with the partners. So if we're under discussion, They're not ready yet, but this is a part where I want to place the seed today.
Okay, thank you much. You will be later on the panel as well, so there might be more time and space for questions. Once again, is Mr. Heidprima here? No. So I'm turning to Toronto, and thank you very much, Frank.